Hello, I'm going to be going over some tips and tricks in evaluating your pictures. So I'm going to be going through some of the pictures that I'm most proud of, showing you my process of how to evaluate them, see what I like, what I don't like about them, and things I can improve on. So maybe this will give you some insight into looking into your own pictures, which is a very important step in becoming a better photographer, is knowing what you're good at and what you need to work on. So let's get started with this first pic. This is a picture of Ellesmere Station, the least used subway station in Toronto. So let's kind of go through this. I like the composition, all minus this area up here. I don't like how this pole is cut out, and I don't like how this car is cut out. They're cut off. If I would have backed away a bit more, perhaps I would have been able to get a nice repeating element of the light, the lamp posts going through the picture, and I would have captured more of this car. And there's a little bird on each of the lamp posts, which is fun. So this is a good reminder for me to keep looking on the edge of the frame when I'm framing shots. It is important for every photographer to do this, it can be a mistake, a very common mistake that photographers do, is not looking at the edge of your frame. Besides that, I like this leading in trail. It's really nice. I like the colors. The light is very flat, which, you know, it was an overcast day, so it is what it is. And the exposure is nice because we still keep detail underneath this overpass here and in the shadows. Next up is this picture. This is of the same station, just from the other perspective. This picture I do like. Oh, there it goes. I like the colors. I like the kind of minimalist look. I just kind of wish mainly if there was more going on in the sky. It's a big white area, just kind of this little bird's going on there. I did wait for the bird to get this shot. Because I thought it just needed a little bit more. But, you know, it was an overcast day, what can you really do? The rest of the picture works nice. You have this nice lines and geometric shapes, which are nice. And, yeah, the picture is fine. It's totally okay. Not gonna win any awards, but I like it. This picture is my first and only attempt at a triple exposure. Basically, it's one shot of this bush, one shot of my girlfriend, and one shot of me put together, which is what creates this nice green area. And then here's my jacket and me, and then my girlfriend there. And it's kind of cool how it turned out. When you're doing double and triple exposures, you gotta look at where your shadows are, because your shadows are what's gonna be filled in by the next frames on top of it. So this kind of dark shadow in here was filled out by my girlfriend and me and my jacket. When it comes to triple exposures, I think you don't want them to be gimmicky, in the sense that the only reason why it's a good photo, it's because it looks interesting, which, you know, there's something to be said about the aesthetic process, but I think usually when you want to execute a concept, the need for a triple or double exposure should be a natural part of the creative development of the process. So I like the work conceptually. It talks about how people come together and the environment, and I think it's alright. Not bad. This is from my Ilford XB2 video. The video is almost at 300 views, so thank you very much. And we've just hit 30 subscribers, so that's really awesome. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You know, it's a good motivation to keep making these types of videos and to hopefully bring more valuable content to everybody. So let's get back to the picture. I like this picture. I like the lead-in lines. I like the negative space surrounding the CN Tower. It gets a little bit messy down here in this kind of area. There's not really much I could do about that. I did try to minimize it by moving the camera upwards, and you can kind of see in the video my process in getting this photograph. Besides that, I really like it. I'm pretty proud of this one. On to the next picture. This picture I really enjoy. It was kind of coincidental that the streetcar just so happened to stop right in front of me. And it gave me enough time to get this shot. This picture kind of encapsulates like the Toronto life, I'd say. So you got like the classic old school streetcar that Toronto's kind of known for. Oh, I don't want that color, I want this color. Not a lot of cities have streetcars, so especially not really old ones like Toronto does. This is one of the older ones. You also have City Hall in the background, which is really cool. I like the way the light is working in here, especially inside the streetcar. These lights have like a very particular glow to them, which is nice. And I like how these individuals are silhouetted and how the windows kind of create natural frames and breaks up the photo naturally. My only kind of gripe is this line right here. Streetcars are powered by like this overhead wire system, and I usually don't mind that in my pictures, but the only reason I have an issue with this line in particular is because it doesn't have much context to it. Other than that, the streetcars kind of come in on to a point at the end, and it's kind of breaks up that horizontal line going across a bit, which kind of makes the framing a bit awkward, and this kind of area is awkward in here. So when I posted this picture to Instagram, I did a crop in on it. I think you kind of lose a bit in the crop, so it's just maybe something I should have been paying more attention to when I was framing the shot. It's always important to try and get the best looking picture from your camera when you're taking the picture and not relying on post-processing. That's just kind of my philosophy. Next up is this picture from a shooting film in Toronto. I have all the videos I'm referencing in the description down below, just so you kind of get a feel of the pace and the amount of time it takes for me to make these types of creative decisions. Eventually, when you start taking a lot of pictures, you'll be able to make creative decisions much faster. Here we're looking at this kind of big machine here. I took this picture because of the light, and finding good light is a very important part of taking photos, and it's something that you get better at over time. It's something I'm still working on, so I'm very glad that I was able to achieve something special with this. And the way Kodak Gold, and specifically the film I was using here, renders these highlight areas in a very bright, warm fashion, I really liked. I like these silhouetted areas. I like how there's still detail in the building. I just find this kind of building behind it a little bit confusing. It really creates a very dense spot with the lines here. But other than that, I think it's a good photo that I just graffitied. Amazing. Next up is from my last roll that I shot, which was Ultrafine Extreme 400. I made a review about that also in the description. I find the film really did well with these fluorescent lights inside the subway stations. I want this color. Yeah. This is at Bizarian Station, which is the least used heavy rail station on the TTC. I wanted to bring in this idea of loneliness, not loneliness, but isolation with these kind of people back here that aren't really real people. They're kind of cut off, and there's no actual people in the frame, which creates kind of this minimalist look, but also reinforces that concept behind Bizarian Station being the least used station. I like the way the walls work. It took a little bit to frame this shot because I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted from it, but I think this turns out pretty well. I got a nice balance of the floor and the ceiling, and I'm pretty happy with this. Next up, for our last picture, this is gonna be at, what station was it? This is at Don Mills. Don Mills Station. I took this picture when I came around the corner and I saw this kind of nice composition. It breaks up into thirds really nicely. This nice use of like this empty floor, kind of interrupted by this one person and this kind of group of people. and it kind of breaks up into 3 areas of interest. Usually in images, you would like to go with a rule of 3. You know, not just the rule of thirds, which is breaking up the frame into thirds, but also in kind of subjects and things in the frame. It's not a hard and fast rule by any means, but it adds a nice type of layering effect, which you kind of see here in the foreground with this kind of tile wall heading into the background, this middle ground with these 2 people, and then the background, which is this tile. You have this repeating element of the lights going through the frame, all kind of leading to the escalators, which is partially me and partially the architects. So yeah, cool. So that's it for showing you guys my process of evaluating the pictures I've taken. I am happy with most of the pictures in here, but you know, there's always stuff that you can improve on, and I hope showing you guys my process will help you with your process. And if there's any tips for me that you have, maybe leave them in the comments. I'd be so happy to see them so I can improve. It's great to have a community of people helping each other out. Also, I think it's important to develop your skills behind the camera and while editing, much more than it is about getting new gear. I'm shooting on cameras from the 70s, and I'm getting pictures that I really like, and I get that film and digital are different, but you don't need a new camera to get better. My philosophy is that you should upgrade when you feel like your gear is holding you back from creating pictures you know you can make. And the best photographers know how to push their gear to the limits. So I think if we're able to get more skilled in the way that we take pictures and think about pictures conceptually, we'll be able to become better photographers together. So thank you for watching. I think that's it.